What's up, everybody? I'm that guy Osiris. Today we're talking about prime versus zoom lenses. It's a tale as old as time. Primes are the best, they're the sharpest. Zooms are for amateurs. Not true, not true. Maybe sometimes. But for the most part, zooms are not for amateurs, and prime is not the best thing ever. Depends the job you do. Now, I had a part one to this series where I discussed the use cases. Why would you go for a prime? Why would you go for a zoom? That was all in that video. Part two today is just about the visuals. We're only going to examine the actual differences, the look of the prime versus zoom. What do you think works best for you? Quick and nimble or image quality over everything? I got my computer here. Okay, I'm going to examine some footage from a recent trip, and we're going to compare side by side visuals of prime versus zoom. And you be the judge. Let's dive straight in. So here we are outside with a 24mm 1.4 prime. And following up is the 24 2.8 zoom. And something I picked up on here, I'm going to have it on a loop. Notice how it makes me look skinnier, the prime. It's a big difference and it's much more flattering. So fun discovery. I'm going to have to dig deeper about this later. Moving on to the 35. Probably my favorite lens of all time, but a lot of people share that opinion. The 1.4 definitely melts the background away. And look, the zoom still looks good, but you see that prime compared right next to it and you could see the difference. Next up, the 50 1.4. This thing is butter. That background is wonderful. And again, the 2.8 looks good, but bam, that 1.4, so nice. I came a second day and we did I got much closer to myself to really exaggerate the foreground background relationship, and you could really see the 1.4 pop here. Dare I say, 3D pop. Side note, the contrast was very different between the prime and the zoom. In the next test, I'm using the 70 and the 85. Now, I stood in the same exact place, and what you're seeing is just the extra zoom you get in when you have an 85. You are getting extra reach, so you got the 70 versus 85. And that bokeh is candela. And if you haven't noticed, the Miami heat is so rough right now, I have a huge glob of sweat about to fall off my glasses. And here's just a quick test of the 50mm, just checking out the look, the visual here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, loving that prime. But freeze that frame real quick and let's talk real world. If you're filming more than one person, odds are you're gonna be shooting at a higher f-stop to make sure both are sharp. So sometimes this benefit we can't always take advantage of. Here's an interview job I did with 2-camera setup, and here is the 85mm. What's important here is that I couldn't shoot this at 1.4. I had to shoot it at 5.6. If I shot it at 1.4, you wouldn't be able to even tell there was a fireplace behind her, and I wanted to highlight the luxurious areas of the property. All right, so here I am in DR. We had a great time there. I'm here rocking my Miami gear, looking like a local or looking like a tourist, shall I say. And God bless my son's girlfriend. She allowed me to photograph her. Now, please don't judge her. She is not a professional model. We just did this very quickly. The sun was going down. The lights from the restaurant were on, and the bokeh was more visible. So certain types of jobs you're going to come to, bokeh is going to be important. Bokeh is going to be important. All right, so starting off, this is a 24mm prime 1.4 versus the 2.8. Can you see the difference? Here's another 24mm, a little closer. Okay, notice those bokeh lights coming out in the background. Let's go 2.8. They're still there, just not as strong, right? Now we're going 35mm. 35, 1.4, 2.8. 1.4, 2.8. The lenses do have a slight difference in contrast and color. That is apparent here. 50 millimeter, 1.4, 2.8. 1.4, 2.8. I will say once you go to the 50 millimeter, I want to say that the bokeh, even though it obviously does stand out more in the 1.4, it's not like it looks terrible, right? On the 2.8. It's still visible. It still looks nice. It's still flattering. So yes, it does look a little nicer here, a little louder. It pops out the screen a little bit more. But also, it melts the background a little bit more. Where the 2.8, you could still see the restaurant in the background a little more. So this is when it starts getting, subjective. And oddly enough, I showed these pictures to them after. This is a pretty big difference here. 1.4, 2.8. And there was only one picture, I will say this, there was only one picture that they preferred the 2.8. Every other picture, they preferred the 1.4. So this is a 85 millimeter 1.4, and this is a 70 2.8. But thanks for coming by, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I don't cause you to spend too much money. So, guys, what camp are you in? Are you Team Zoom or are you Team Prime? I myself love the primes, okay? I do love them. They're my favorite. However, they don't always make sense on every job. All right, guys. I got very little time. I got to go, but catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.